So the best entrepreneurial initiative I've been ever involved in is the current one, and that's how it should be. If you're not actually 110% into what you're doing right now as an entrepreneur, you shouldn't be doing it. And the thing that I'm doing is brand consultancy. I have just co-founded in mid-2012 my second branding agency, and I'm a brand strategist, and I just love doing it. I've never been anybody's employee. That's all I've done for my entire professional life. And it's been a long and fulfilling and very happy professional life doing branding and brand consultancy in Romania. And you know, it's had its great moments and its less stellar moments. Among those less stellar moments, you know, the worst trials of doing entrepreneurship in terms of, you know, business consultancy in Romania was a moment when we had to transfer responsibility among people, and that was really hard. We focused on, you know, the professional aspect of the business, and we didn't pay enough attention to people. And transferring responsibility and knowledge from one person to another is always a very risky and very sensitive moment that you really need to focus on. And it wasn't, you know, I didn't have the best days of my life when I did that, but I learned from it. I survived it and I learned from it.
I think everybody before has been talking about how nice it is to be an entrepreneur. The fact is that sometimes while you're in the entrepreneur job, you reach some very bad moments, and the most important bad moments are with yourself, and you feel like you're abandoned, and you feel like there's no hope, and you feel like there's only despair and a sea of sorrow in front of you. And this is most definitely the worst moment that you have in your life as an entrepreneur. On the other hand, if you go over this moment, you will find that the absolute happiness of succeeding in your goals and reaching over what you think you can do will bring you the most satisfying moments in your life as an entrepreneur.
What I like about being an entrepreneur is successful recruiting. So if you have the first interviews and I manage to convince the candidate about the idea, and then at the end we agree and we start changing things together. What I don't like is if we can't fulfill the expectations. If there are technical problems, at the end we have to postpone project deadlines. That's a not very pleasant moment.
My worst experience as an entrepreneur is promising something to a client and not being able to deliver it. My best experience as an entrepreneur is realizing that a product that I created actually impacted someone's life.
You always hear success stories about entrepreneurs. New products on the market, ideas that bring millions, IPOs, acquisition, investments. These news are making everybody thinking that entrepreneurs are always successful. The reality is totally different. You face constantly up and downs. You need to be a constant fighter. You need to be trained.
I think the best moment was when we hired our first employee. Before that, I'd work with my partners on projects and everything. But once you hire the first person and he's your employee, he pays taxes, you pay taxes for him, you somehow start contributing to society, it makes the whole thing feel a lot more real, because all of a sudden you have, like, it's a big commitment and you have responsibilities on your hand. You need to pay him if the economy is weak or if things are not going well. You need to make sure he's paid first. And that was very rewarding, I think, to do that, to have a first employee, because all of a sudden it feels like a real company, and from there you start growing it, you hire more people, which we did, and that was a lot of fun, and it felt like kind of a new stepstone, a big new starting point towards building something bigger. It was very good, a lot of fun.
The best experience was when two investment funds competed to invest in us, and one of them ended up winning, and we ended up with a couple of millions in the bank. The worst experience was the one driven by our incapacity to focus. We were doing too many things in the same time, and the best entrepreneurs and the best products do one thing and do it very well.
The most important thing in my business life is to believe in yourself
and work with people you love, because this is a big problem. We work with people who we don't like, and the most of the things what has happened then is bullshit, you know. And finish that, go to the people you love, you want to work with him, and everything going okay. The worst moment in my life as entrepreneur was the time to understand who I am, because when you know who are you cannot work really well. You are not perfect in your business, and the best way is to understand what is your talent, what is your things what you want to do, and what is the things what you love, and then work with people you love, and everything's going okay.
So you asked me about the best experience that I ever had as an entrepreneur, and I'm happy to tell you that that was just last night, because I'm running an accelerator program. I train entrepreneurs, and last night we had a fantastic session about B2B business. We had 2 great entrepreneurs who were there as mentors, one running a company that's worth $1 billion, one running a company that's just on its way to the stars. They were extremely cool. The founders in the room were also extremely cool. It was a very intense discussion, and I can really say that it made everybody excited and happy. I asked everyone afterwards how they liked it. They gave it 5 out of 5 points, and you could really feel the atmosphere in the room was so intense and so fruitful. It was probably one of the most entertaining and at the same time useful things that one could do with his life, and for me that was just last night, and I'm quite happy that this happens more or less on a weekly basis, but last night was definitely a high point. If you ask me about the low point, that's probably when I failed with my first startup in the year 2000, and I was totally broke and I had no idea what to do next, and all my friends were broke too. Everybody was unemployed. That was after the burst of the first internet bubble, and I couldn't really believe it, you know. Everything had looked so great and everybody was having so much fun, and then from one day to the other everybody was broke and out on the street. And the way how I handled that was with taking my very last money, probably a subsidy from my parents, and buying a ticket to the Silicon Valley, flying over to Silicon Valley, thinking that I had to give it one last shot. And this one last shot was unsuccessful. I didn't get a job, but at least I got 3 final weeks of having a great time in the Silicon Valley. I returned, and miraculously I found another job and I was out of it again. So the story is, I guess, or the lesson from this is that many bad things just need waiting them out. Doing something, not waiting for something to magically rescue you today, but giving it some time, keeping busy during that time, doing something useful, even if it looks a bit stupid at the moment, and then going on.